Hello everyone, welcome to this week's watch list preview. I have my watch list here. I had a large, I don't know, maybe 70 uh, tickers in my inside week scan. A lot of those had earnings coming up this week, and a lot of them were stuck on, had mother bar issues. And a lot of them are right near the top of the broadening formation, right at the top of the broadening formation. That doesn't mean they can't continue to go, but I'd rather find something that's a little bit maybe a little bit better odds statistically. So let's take a look at the what I have. I narrowed it down to 4 stocks. You can do a scan for inside weeks and follow the same process I do. So let's take a look at it here. So the first one is Caterpillar. Look at Caterpillar. I look at the year. Had a strong year earlier on, pulled back quite a bit. Quarter, we're 2 down on the quarter, but we're near the bottom of the broadening formation. The month, you see inside on the month so far, which I saw a lot of the stocks are inside month still after a week, a week into the month. Still a lot of inside months, a lot of doji looking candles on the monthly so far. So we haven't had a lot of movement yet. We've had some movement, but we're still kind of right where we opened the month at. So here's the weekly inside week. Here's the old broadening formation. The bottom line of the broadening formation was from this candle to this candle. We did break below that. We're bouncing up off the bottom of the broadening formation inside candle. So I'm looking for a break above 210.90. We go down to our daily to pick up some targets. We have a pivot high here at 214.51. Another pivot high here at 219.05. And a pivot high here at 221.93. So that's what I'm looking at for Caterpillar. As always, move your stops up as you go. You get up in this range, maybe around 212, 213. I'd be moving my stop up to break even. Once you get up here to 214.51, you break this. I'd probably be moving my stops up to about the 212, 213 range. Move your stops up. You may get taken out, but at least you'll make a little bit of money. Just move it up somewhere above break even. Don't move it too high because there's a good chance here. You're going to see some resistance and some profit taking. So you'll likely see it come up here and then start to come back down. Maybe come down to about here. A good place to put your stop, maybe just below the close of this candle. If you look here, the close of this candle is real close to the high of this candle here and close to the high of this candle here. So this should be a pretty good support line once it breaks above it. So I'd probably set my stop at maybe 212. That way you'll still make money if you do get stopped out, if it does pull back on you. But it should hold this 212.50-ish pretty well and then ride it up. Once you break target one, you get maybe a couple dollars over target one. I'd move my stop up here to 214.51. So that's how I would trade it. Next on the list is, let me move this up to another screen, Google with an L. So we look at the year, phenomenal. Quarter, phenomenal. Month, inside month. Again, inside month, but it is near the top of the previous candle. Week, we're kind of just above the middle of this candle, but it's inside week. So what I'm looking for here, a break above this candle, 27.29.45 is our trigger. Come down to the daily and we pick up our targets. Target one is only about a $4 move, 27.33.22. There's a big range here. It's only like $30, but which is not out of the question for Google. But I like to pick up some kind of a a level in between that for a stop. So if you go down to the 60, you'll see, let me zoom back out. Come down to the 60, we had a pivot high right here. So I put this as target too, 2744.86. And that gives you another target to look for, and it gives you something to set a stop at. If we come up, if we end up coming up here to the 2750, 2760, 2755 to 2760, I'd move my stop up to just below this target too, just below this 2744. So that's how I would trade that one. Target 3 is this pivot high at 2765.94. So next on the list is UPS. Now UPS is interesting. If you look at the year, it's having a so-so. It started out really good and it pulled back, a lot of sell-off here. So it's still green and it's still 2 up, but it's really pulled back recently. So we look at I shouldn't say recently, but for the year. We're inside quarter, and well, this is recently because we're selling off here in the quarter. Month, we've been selling off. 2 months straight, we sold off. We're down. We're getting close to the bottom of the broadening formation, but let's take a look at the weekly. Now, what I like here is either way, if we break to the upside, we have a huge candle here for magnitude. So I think the odds of it breaking to the upside are less than it breaking to the downside, but we have to wait and see what it's going to do. If it breaks to the upside, be ready. There's a huge magnitude here. If you look at the daily, you'll see a huge gap here to fill. So go back to the weekly. The trigger to the upside is 194.25. You come down to the daily. First target is 195.87. Second target's 198.07. If we break this, and if I'm in this trade and we break this, I'm adding here. Not as soon as we break 198.07, but if we get up to 199, 200 is going to be a mental resistance. But I think if we break 200, I'm going to start adding. 201, probably a pretty safe place to add. And at that point, I'd move my target up to just below 198.07. And remember, your entry is going to be down here around 194. So that's how I would trade this. And target 3 is going to be way up here at 209.35. Now, if you look at it to the downside, which is probably more likely because it's been struggling the last couple of months. If you look at the downside target, if you break to the downside, I have normally would put it at the bottom of this candle, but it is pretty close to this one. So I went ahead and set the downside to the break at the bottom of this candle. Now if you go to the daily on this one, again, huge gap to fill. So you break below 188.32, and let me see something here just for curiosity. Go back to the weekly. 190.10 is the low of last week's candle. At 189.71, so this is a little bit lower. So if we break this, let me try to zoom in a little bit better. If we break below this trigger here, we're looking at another huge gap to fill here. So there's a huge $9 move to target 1. Now, if you don't like that big of a range, you can come down again, go down to the 60. I believe, if I remember right, the 4-hour, I looked at this earlier, the 4-hour also had that huge gap. So, yeah, 4-hour still has that big gap. The 2-hour, I can't go out that far. I can't go back that far. And the 1-hour I can't either. Now you can adjust, you can adjust these. Come up here and customize list. Change your I have my 2 hour set at 20 days. I don't know how many days back you can go on a 2 hour. It only lets you go back a certain amount of days. But anyway, if you go back to the daily, huge gap to fill here. So that would also bring us closer to the bottom of the broadening formation now. If you're looking a few days out from here, you're looking at probably 180 is probably a pretty reasonable target if we do come down. So that's what I like about UPS. US Steel is the last one on the list. You look at the yearly. On a year, we're coming back up through. We're inside this big mother bar here. From here at $4.54 to 19 or 196. But this is years ago. So this was actually 2008. If you look at the quarterly, we have a hammer candle on the quarterly so far. We're, working on setting up a hammer candle. Maybe even go outside on this one if it keeps going. Monthly, we're still inside month, just like on a lot of them, but we're near the top of the previous candle. I don't think this is quite a hammer because the tail's not, I don't believe, is twice the size of this body, but either way it's close. But we're near the top of it, which brings us to the weekly. So we're looking for a break above 2655. Target 1, and I don't really want to call it target 1, but 2667, which is only 12 cents away. If we break this first trigger, I don't see us having any problems breaking the second one here. That's going to set up a 2-2 on the month. If you look back from my previous video, my previous watch list for the monthly setups, I had this on the month for a 2-2 up. If we go back to the monthly chart, you see we had a 2 down here, 2 down here, hammerish candle, and we were looking for a break above it for the 2-2 month reversal. We go to the weekly, we have it inside. A break above this candle is going to set up the 2-2 month. So we are near the top of this broadening formation here, but we still have a lot of magnitude to get up to here. So I used my targets from the monthly setup when I did the month, which pretty much coincide with the weekly anyway. So target 1 is going to be $26.99. You come down to the daily, and let me see. Target 1 was this high here, $26.99, which isn't a huge move, but it is there, and you may see a little bit of resistance here. Target 2 is way up here. We're looking at, dollar. I don't want to say way up because U.S. Steel $1.50 is a pretty big move, but it's in the stock market world, $1.50 is not a huge move, but still roughly 5% move. But target 2 is way up here at 28.54. Target 3 is 28.79. So that's what I'm looking for on U.S. Steel. So that's it for this week. You can do this on any, I showed you the 2-2 on this one. So you can scan for 2-2s, 2-2 reversals. The same principles apply. I look for whatever time frame I run the scan on. I step down one time frame to find my targets. It's just a little bit more conservative. Sure, you could leave your weekly on here and look for targets on the weekly. Target 1 being way up here, but I like to be a little bit more conservative, and I like to move my stops up as I go. So if I drop down to the daily time frame, that gives me the opportunity to move my stops up as I go. So I may miss out on some profits with that method, but it works for me. And I'm a very conservative trader. So that's just how I do it. I'd rather, I was told before, way back in my trading career, um, good traders think about how much money they can make. Great traders think about how much they can lose. I prefer to be a great trader, and I prefer to protect my account. So I'll trade more conservatively for that reason. So thanks for watching, and good luck this week, and let me know how you guys do. Thanks. Bye.